In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to create movement within your chords by moving around different notes. So really what you're doing is playing different chords when you're moving these notes, and I'll explain what those chords are. But it's easier if we just think about them as moving different notes around to create movement and create more interesting sounds, adding more color. So for example, if I took a D major chord, and I move those notes around, I'm changing the chord, which I'll explain when I do a close-up, but you can just think about it as moving those notes around to add different colors. So you can do it with any rhythm, really. Or if I do it with an A major chord. There's tons of possibilities, and I'm going to go over some examples now. We've provided charts that show you a lot more, and you can experiment on your own. But I'll go over some now just to show you the concept of it. So I'm going to do a close-up for you to see. So mainly right now, I just want to teach you the concept of doing this. I'm going to show you a lot more of these in the future. So I'll just start with, let's see, about 4 or 5 examples. And the first one I'll start with is D, because you know all these chords. And the first one I'm going to start with is D major. Then I'm going to add my pinky in for D sus4. Then I'm going to take my pinky off to go back to D major. Then I'm going to take my second finger off to go to D sus2. So with that you can do something like this. Or you could just do one note. Or and then you can do the exact same thing with the D minor. So if you go to the D minor shape, you can go to D sus4, so D minor. So you can do the same thing, go D minor to D sus4 to D sus2 and back. And another example I'll show you is A major, and this one will actually be doing something where it's adding chords that you don't know yet. So go from A major, and then we'll slide our third finger up a fret, so that becomes A sus4. Slide it back to A major, and then take it off. Take off your third finger, and that becomes A sus2. So it's basically the same movement that we did with the D, but now we're doing it with A. So A sus4, A sus2. Or just one. Or with that A to A sus4 move, you can use your pinky instead of sliding your third finger. And you can do the same thing with A minor, just like we did with the D minor. So go to the A minor shape and do the same movement. And then the last one I'll show you is C major. And this one will be adding some chords that you don't know too. So go from C major, add in your pinky right under your third finger. So you add your fourth finger under your third finger. So it's on the same string as your second finger. Take your fourth finger off, and then take your second finger off and go back to C major. So this move would be going from C major, C sus4, C major, C2. So that chord's C2, not C sus2. Or same thing, you can just do one note at a time. So those are just some examples of movements you can do within chords to add a lot of nice color and movement. And like I said, these are just a few examples. We'll dive into a lot more in later lessons. For practice, I want you to go over those examples that I just showed you. Start with those so you can hear me play them and then mimic it. And then I want you to take the chart we provided and try out the different ones that are on that chart, because there's even more than what we've provided on the chart, but this is a lot to get you started with and shows you the possibilities of when you start moving those notes around, the different colors and how much more interesting those chords can become just by moving notes around. So go ahead and take those and get comfortable moving those notes around before you move on. Get comfortable moving the ones in the examples that I showed you before you move on, because in the next lesson I'm going to take it a step further and we're going to talk about hammer-ons and pull-offs. So once you're comfortable with the examples that I showed you, you can move on to the next lesson and we'll keep moving forward.